What is up, y'all? It is Jerry from Team Unco Studios, back again with the second part of our sequencing video. In this video, we're going to just kind of go over a couple of things we did in the first video. We're going to actually start arranging our sequences, kind of changing some things in each one, eventually bringing that over into our song mode, and then being able to hear it all on the song mode linear line where we can hear each section of our sequences, all right? So without anything more, let's just jump right into this, you guys, all right? All right, y'all, so if we just take a gaze down onto our screen here, you'll notice this is basically where we left off from the last tutorial. I'm just on my intro here, and so if we play some of the intro. Okay, so we've got kind of an intro there, then we work into our verse here. All right, and that sounds pretty cool. So kind of just moving right along, we're gonna go ahead and finish the chorus, and then we're gonna probably put another verse behind that, which we already have the second verse there, and then maybe like another chorus and then like an outro. When I do sequencing, I like to try to get it all done first before I go into song mode and then start putting it on a timeline, but you can do either way, okay? For now, we're just gonna do it the way I kind of do it, kind of work each one of these and then go and put it on our song mode and then put it on the song mode timeline, all right? So, again, if you notice, we're on verse 2 here, and I like the way verse 2 sounds, but at the end of verse 2, I want to kind of have something different go into the chorus, right? So if we go to our chorus, right now, the chorus is just the same copy of the first sequences that we had, right? It's just this same thing here, right? So I want something a little bit different there, right? I want something different, like a key change, let's say, all right? So I don't have a controller hooked up. I'm just gonna do this manually for right now, just to give you guys the example of how this works, all right? And it just is gonna make it a little bit easier, but eventually I'll make a video where I do a full sequence with a controller so you guys can follow along, all right? But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and go to my melody line, which is my key line. I've also got this pluck up here that's probably gonna be out of key. So for now, I'm just gonna mute the pluck, and then I'm gonna go to my key line and I'm gonna solo it. And right now I've kind of got this. Okay, so again, that sounds cool. Now there's a couple of different ways that we could change the key here, all right? Way number one is if we go back to our home mode and look at our keys, we can just simply highlight these and just move them around however we want, up and down, and it's just gonna change the key, if you noticed, okay? So that's one way to do it. So the other way that we can do it is by actually using our controller or just using the mouse on our pads here. Now, when I recorded this section, if you notice in my pad perform, I was using chords, as my pads, right? So I wasn't actually physically playing the chords. I was using the pads as my chords, and then I was starting on my root note. We're in C sharp with the natural minor, okay? If that doesn't make any sense to you, it doesn't really have to. It's a little bit more musical theory, but when you're changing keys and making a big jump in a song like this, sometimes it's important to know that, but you don't always have to. Sometimes these are the best things to use, and that's what we're gonna do right now. So if I go back and use that first kind of method of just highlighting this, right, as opposed to coming here and kind of doing the, right, we could just do that also too as well, right? And kind of go into our own little key change, So, and actually, you know what? Why don't we just do that and just make it easier, So let's go ahead, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go ahead and erase this here, okay? So let's go ahead and delete that. And now when we come in, we're gonna come in with a little bit of a change here. That comes here, and then we're gonna go to the G there, and then to the A, back to the G, and then back to maybe the D, and then back to the E, okay? So again, musical theory, just follow along if you can, all right? So we're gonna go Shift R, and I'm gonna go ahead and go into overdub mode. You're gonna hear 4 clicks, and then I'm gonna record this really quick, so. Okay, so that sounds good except for this last little section. If you notice, it's just a little bit off of my quarter beat mark there. So I'm just gonna have it come back a little bit, okay? And now we're gonna go ahead and bring everything else back in, the drums. All right, so let's go ahead and bring the drums in now. Oops, there we go. Okay, and that sounds pretty cool, okay? So now that we've got like a different little section here for the chorus, okay, we're gonna go ahead and go back to our other verse line. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on track here. Let's go to our second verse line now, okay? So here's our second verse line now. Okay, so that's our second verse line. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take, again, just some of these drums here in the very first section out, okay? So I'm just gonna kind of take this stuff out just to make it sound a little bit, you know, just kind of give it a little bit of a, you know, unnatural feel coming out of the chorus back into the verse, all right? So let's go ahead and go back here. All right, so if we go back to our chorus here, and go ahead and play. Okay, you know we kind of got this going right here. Okay, and so that's what we've got now for the chorus, all right? And we've got our kind of, I keep going to my tracks. There we go. Sequence to my second verse now, and I've got this coming out of the chorus. Okay. So that's cool. It leaves kind of like a little hole there, you know? So let's go ahead and jump back into getting this arranged and putting it on a timeline, okay? So where do I go for that? How does that work, all right? So now that I've got all my parts ready and they're all kind of solidified here, let's go ahead and start, you know, putting it in song mode. So if we go up to our top toolbar here, and we go all the way down to the end. And if you notice, there's a little section here. That's this little arrow, little gray arrow guy. If you pull that down, it brings up these advanced settings. So in the advanced settings, all the way down at the bottom, second from the bottom is song. If we go ahead and go into song, this little mode will pop up here, okay? This is song mode. This is where we're gonna start taking those stacked parts and arranging them the way that we want. And the way that we're gonna do that is if you kind of take a look here, and I'll zoom into this part, okay? You can see that there's language on each one of our pads now that says how many bars. It shows you what the metronome, the BPM is, and what section of that sequence this pad is, all right? So you've got the intro, the verse, the chorus, the second verse, all right? So those are the 4 sequences that we created already, all right? So in order to get them up onto your timeline, all you're gonna do is simply just grab them and drag them over into the step sequence, and boom, you're just gonna, you know, throw it in the little step sequence window, and then grab the next one and boom, throw it into the step sequence window, grab the chorus, same, throw it, and then grab the verse, and boom, throw that one in, okay? So again, like I said, this is the stacking I'm talking about right here, you know? Now, MPC Beats likes to use step sequence as it steps in your sequences. Stacking for me just comes more natural, you know, to me. So that's why I call it stacking. But step sequence is actually what the actual name of this method is right here. Okay, this is step sequencing right here, what we're doing. All right. Now, if you noticed up at the top here, it's put all of my verse and my chorus and all this on a linear timeline. All right. Now we'll be able to take all the sections and listen to them all together. And you could do this at any point when you are making your sequences, okay? You don't have to do it at the end. I'm just doing it at the end so that we can kind of follow a trail here of how to make a sequence, how to get it, you know, copied how to manipulate it and edit the sequence and then put it on a timeline, all right? So let's go ahead and listen to this and see what it sounds like. So this is the intro here. All right, now into the verse. And then to the chorus. All right, and that does not sound bad at all. You know, it's just a little something that we kind of threw together, and just to give you guys the example of how this works, you know. So if you look at it on a smaller scale here, here's all our sequences, and we've just simply put them together in a timeline. Now, any one of these sequences, you can do whatever you want with. You can speed it up, you could slow it down, you could change the key, you can put a whole new drum kit on something if you want, or whatever you want to do. That's the benefits of doing sequencing this way. When you're working on a linear timeline, you're kind of stuck to what's happening there. Like for instance, the drums. You're kind of stuck to that drum set is what's happening in that timeline, because it's 62 bars of that drum set. Now, you could be creative and you can do workarounds where you can open another track, put a different drum set on there and switch them in and out. But this way is just a much more efficient way of doing it, okay? So kind of lastly, to sum all of this up, when you are at this point, and let's say you want to change the verse here, you heard something and you want different, or the chorus or whatever, to get out of this, all you're going to simply do is just go back home. And then you're back here at your grid and where you would normally be to write any song, okay? Or you can just simply go to track view and look at what your sequence is that you're currently working on, which is verse 2 right now. You know, you can go back to your intro and say, I want to change this. At any point, you can add more tracks and add more stuff to any one of your sequences. Just remember, it's all individualized. So if you add a shaker on this sequence, it's not going to add to your other sequences, only the sequence that you're currently working on. All right. I hope this was helpful. We're going to make more videos on sequencing. I want lots of questions about, you know, if I missed something or if somebody's confused on something, and I will do my best to make a video on it so that we can make this as easy as possible, because sequencing is really helpful in the long run as a music producer. It just makes things a little bit cleaner and a little bit quicker for you if you really know what you're doing and how to use it. All right. So again, I hope this was helpful. Peace and much love from all of us at Team Unco Studios. We appreciate you all. Thank you so much. And we will see you all on the next video. All right. Bye.